we've been very fortunate by successively lower rates of inflation, and I'm wondering, with all of the money sloshing around and between real estate and stocks and all the other places, whether you are concerned about inflation, what effect that would have on the insurance businesses of Berkshire, and what you can do to guard against those risks.
Yeah. My record is just terrible in terms of predicting the inflation rate. So it is not something that enters into our decision making. The big danger in a speed up of inflation would lead to more dollar volume in the insurance business, and more dollar volume is basically good for us. Even though there might be a lag in pricing, that would eventually catch up and all that. So absent the next factor I'm going to mention, inflation is not necessarily harmful at all to something like a GEICO. As you get into longer tail liability lines, such as a General Re might have, inflation has this effect of hitting liabilities that were created 4, 5, 10 years earlier, maybe, and they get settled in current dollars, and obviously that ratchets up the cost of settling those liabilities in kind of an unpredictable way. The danger in inflation to something like GEICO would be that people during inflation, they get irritated about the price of everything going up, and there's some things they can do something about, and there's others they can't. And then there's some they think they can, even though they can't, and one of those might be the cost of insurance. So the people might get very upset with the system of auto insurance when they see a very significant part of their annual budget, because the auto insurance policy on average is significant to people, and virtually every consumer in the country. And there could be a lot of pressure on legislatures to do a variety of things that might change the system in a major way. It wouldn't reduce the number of cars that crashed into each other or the injuries that were done or anything else, but it would be a way of striking out against higher rates, and people would be unhappy about those rates. And that also might reflect itself in difficulty getting the increases that were required to take care of it. Costs that were ratcheting up fast. So net, I think inflation is bad for the auto insurance business, although you can argue that, GEICO, I think when I first got interested in GEICO, they had about it was in 1951, I wrote it up in the security I like best, I think they had about 175,000 policies. And I think they were writing about $7 million of business, which would be about $40 a policy. Now, if we were getting $40 a policy now, our premium volume would be the company would be a whole lot less valuable than it is. And so one way or another, it ended up going from that period of $40 an average policy to $1,200 or $1,100 an average policy, without the roof caving in on it. And it has been made more valuable in dollar terms by a combination of inflation and a great business model, without it getting destroyed in the process. Nevertheless, I would prefer a non-inflationary environment. It's better for the whole world over time, and that's the way our hope goes. And then we have this so far unwarranted fear that the kind of conditions that have existed over the last 15 years might cause a reignition of inflation, which to date it hasn't. I don't know any more about what's going to happen than you do, though, on that. Charlie?
I don't know anything either.